Alright guys, so this right here is my clown knife fish, and he's been out of the water. I'd say for around an hour now. I've kind of let him dry so he's a little easier to work with. Um, I'm not too sure what happened, but his tail is messed up, and he's missing an eye, so I say my crawdad got to him definitely. I got this new mini bamboo cutting board. It was $4 at Kroger's. I was like, okay. But let's go ahead and pop the light on, enable the flash so you can get a better look. Um, they do have teeth, very nice predatory teeth. This guy has only ever eaten one time that I have seen. And I am about to do a dissection. And the reason I'm going to do a dissection is one, I am 99% sure, and 99% certain I know why he is gone. Why he did not make it, why he is no longer with us. I'm gonna move the camera. Lighting kind of changes when I move it like that. Whenever it faces that darker corner back here, it always fucks up. It'll start just whooping on me, so it's not doing it now. So anyway, I have had 3 fish losses that I have seen today, and one was a fresh kill, and it was for the crawdad. Um, and right now the crawdad is currently climbing through my plants, so I'm about to figure something else out. Anyway, just in case somebody's wondering, this is Pan. He's a Native American deity. I'm not going to go into too much detail. People tend not to like whenever you talk about, Native American deities. Also, I want to show my garden centipede off. This little dude right here, I feed him guppy minnows. And on top of that, this 20-gallon long aquarium is now chock full with around 40 breeder minnows. Um, all mature females and all young males that are ready to breed, and one extremely large male. He's very good looking. So as I feel around, and as you guys can probably see right here, there's a rock inside of him. You can clearly see the outline of it right here. So I'm going to just do a quick little dissection here. I'm just going to cut open his little soul, his little. Oh, it is nothing but a rock here. Okay, so I can't cut him open normally. And the reason that he's dry is because I let him sit out for a little bit. I'm just going to cut the paper off the board here. I mean, $4 for a mini cutting board. I mean, this thing right here, it'll fit. Okay, I don't like that. This thing right here will fit in the rucksack, real nicely. They put glue on it so people couldn't steal it, and I don't like that. Ugh, Jesus. It's that fun glue you play with as a kid, but I just hit the floor. Of course it did. It comes off really cleanly. It does leave a little circle right down the middle. I picked that for $4. I couldn't pass it up. Stuck to my nail. See, I'm really upset that he died, but he died because he couldn't poop. So I'm just gonna go ahead and. Oh, that corner of that razor blade's all chipped up. No wonder it's not cutting. There we go. Look at that, like butter now. Good God. I think I need to fillet him. Oh, smells. It's so fishy on the inside. I didn't realize I'd need a bigger knife. What? Huh? Okay. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I've got a little bitty better knife here. Yeah, I definitely popped into some yellow goo starting to come out of him now. I'm just going to use that to cut that off, and I'll use that to feed off to the turtle. That turtle eats everything. Or I might, just slice it up nicely and throw it in there. So yeah, that's definitely stomach contents, but I need to go back farther. So this is all I've done so far, is just that little bit. And I'll flip the camera around in a second. These fish are extremely, extremely smelly on the inside. I'm not even gonna. It smells like bleach on the inside. My mom's actually headed off to the hospital right now. My neighbors do not know what the definition of a fucking log chain is for their stupid ass dogs. And so their dogs are constantly chewing off their little stupid leashes. And yeah, they keep running the fucking neighborhood, and one of them today. It's a nice dog, but my dog doesn't know that. My dog's around 200 pounds. And my dog, all he saw was there was another dog on the other side of the fence barking at him. And he instinctively went in between it and my mom to protect my mom. And my mom grabbed him and he drugged her while she was trying to get him under control. Now, I didn't know any of this was going on. I was down here and I was actually making a video and I had my TV on. And I'm not going to use that video because I'm talking about the video now. And I'm shocked 5 minutes in, and no one's here. I got this little container here I'll wash off in. So what I'm doing now is I'm cutting off the bottom and I can see the insides. And if I actually turn the camera around, so can you. And yeah, right there is the rock. So I'm using the cactus to hold you up right now. So I was hoping that the first time this cutting board was going to be used would be on some fish. And I wasn't expecting this kind of fish. So all I'm going to do now is just try to fillet it up. I'm not entirely sure why my grandmother's here. My cousin Jessica was here. She brought her up here. And then my cousin Jessica just hauled ass out of here once I put her license plate on. So I'm not too sure what's going on, if my grandmother's staying here or not. But yeah, in a short story, there's a rib bone already. They have no scales whatsoever. Oh yeah, they have very fine scales. That's cool. Very fine scales on a clown knifefish, guys. I just wish I'm using a brand new razor blade, by the way. But yeah. So since he drugged my mom about 4 feet through mud and he pulled her down, he was just trying to protect her, and she had a hold of his harness, and he took off. Which is what we have raised him to do, is protect the family. But we also have got to break it into his ass that that's a no-no. It's like ridiculously gooey in here. I found his air bladder. Cool thing. The air bladder's actually on the spine. That's fairly neat to know. I wonder who's taking my mom to the doctor. My brother and his fiance, they left. After they came and picked their kids up, but yeah, no, she hurt her back. I just cut my finger open. She hurt her hand, and when he pulls with such force, he yanked her. And when he yanked her, he probably dislocated her wrist. So she's been waiting for around an hour to go to the hospital. And the reason she's been waiting is because she's stubborn and she was babysitting my brother's kids. So, fun fact. I'm gonna turn the camera around for you guys. This is actually pretty interesting. Okay, so the air bladder. Hang on, I know I made a pointer stick. Hang on. Let me just set you guys down for a second. Alright then, I don't know where it is. Give me like 30 seconds. Let me clean my floor here. Magnifying scope that no one ever uses. We're going to set you up right here. Make a cool tool. This is not what a bench grinder's for, but it works. And it's not doing any damage to the grinder either. That's actually rust, by the way, on that. So what I'm doing is I'm just creating a pointer. Something I can actually use, and God, I got titties. Who knew this was going to be rated R when you pulled in, huh? Yeah, but my neighbors, they're new to the neighborhood, been here a couple weeks now, and maybe 2-3 weeks now, maybe, at best. And they have 3 pit bulls. They have 3 dogs. Ow! One I'm not too sure about, and then a pit bull, and then 2 pit bulls. And the pit bulls are constantly chewing their leash, and the other dog they just let run the neighborhood. Yeah, he ate a rock. So, I flat out fucking looked at them today when I went back outside, because I don't know why. I went back outside. Oh, it's get my mom's shoes, because he pulled her out of her shoes. It's funny as hell. They're slippers, but he still pulled her out of them. She's so dainty now. She's so easily hurt. Which, I mean, it comes with territory. It does. But I went back outside, and the other fucking dog that was on the leash, bear in mind, like a 4-foot leash on a tree, and this dog is choking itself, and it can't even lay down. and it's outside for 30 minutes to an hour maybe. Most I've seen is an hour. So I mean they don't leave it out there all day as far as I have seen, but I'm also not out all day and I'm not paying attention all day, so I don't fucking know. Um so I went back there and it was the pit bull was in the alley barking at the dog behind my house at the fence. And I hollered at, get your ass home. What the fuck are you doing? You don't belong over here. Go home. And just like that, I started walking back, and the homeowner's coming outside, and he's looking at me. He's like, is she back here? I said, the black and white one? He went, yeah. I said, yeah, she's back here. He hollered at her. And he goes, starts grabbing her. He smacks the shit out of her, which I am perfectly fine with. The dog fucked up. It knows it doesn't chew the leash. It knows not to leave the yard, which they don't have a fenced-in yard at all. It actually runs in the neighbor's yard, and the neighbors sadly have a little child named Sydney, and if something happens to Sydney or fuck, what's his name? I never speak to him. Their son, he's about 14 or 15, I think. If something happens to any of those people, I promise you that'll be a dead fucking dog. Because if someone is being attacked, I am full with my goddamn right to shoot from my property if deemed necessary. And if a child or an adult is being attacked by a dog, that is 100% necessity right there. As long as I don't leave my property with it, I'm pretty much safe. What happened, dude? I came outside. The dog had the little girl down on the ground. He was fucking chewing on her, flinging her around. I ran downstairs, grabbed my gun, came upside, and popped one in him. Did you leave the yard? No. Well, okay. So yeah. So when the neighbors grabbed the dog, smacked it, and started dragging it inside, I looked at him and I reached over and I grabbed my dog chain. And my goddamn dog, is on a fucking chain. It is a log chain, about that fucking thick gauge log chain. And I looked at him. I said, bro, log chains, learn them. And I just dropped the fucking thing and I walked inside. I'm not playing this shit. My goddamn mom got hurt because of these dumbasses who want to think, oh, I'm going to let my dog outside. I know my dog chews a leash and I'm not going to check on him for 20, 30 fucking minutes at a time. And it's like, these dogs aren't aggressive, but my dog doesn't know that. My dog can tear them apart. If my dog gets a hold of another dog, I'm going to have to shoot my dog. My dog is very fucking protective over the family, and that's how he was trained. He's a guard dog. I'm shocked no one's here yet. Am I even really live? Is there something going on? Or maybe it's just a bad time. But anyway, flip you guys around real quick. Inside cavity. This is actually looks like the air bladder back here. It was inflated, and then it deflated. I am very shaky right now. Yeah, see? Look at it. See it flate up real quick? But yeah, nice back strap. No meat whatsoever on the side. It's very thin. Look at it. It's just skin here. There's no meat whatsoever. But these bones are in. I mean, I bet a full-grown clownfish have some meat on it, but this one don't. But as you can see right here, see it moving around inside of there? Look at that. You can just scrape that away from the bones. Let me just hold this down really quickly. Definitely not going to be allowed to be a YouTube thing. There's the liver. And I think that's the gallbladder right there. I'm going to try to pull out the entire intestinal wall here. And this is the poop. This is the poop chute right here. So hard to do with one hand. There, it's separated from there. Slowly working it off to where I can find the end. Yeah, that looks like the gallbladder or the end of the intestine. It's nothing but, look at this. Like, it's just skin. And the fly is already coming around. But look at that. That is just something that is so easy. I think that's just coagulated blood, maybe. But I mean, it is just so grody. I'm not sure why my grandmother was left at my house, but I don't know. There we go. We're just gonna do a gentle pull. And just like this is the problem with having stones and aquariums, and this is why I'm straight up about to go legit into just flat bottoms. And already, the Senegal tank, since these guys poop and it's this fucking floaty ball of weird shit, and it looks like fabric in the bottom. Tiny scales on my finger. I had to take them to a solid bottom because their water just got so nasty, and so they're solid bottom. But yeah. So there's this right there, guys. That's why it died. It couldn't eat. There'd have been nothing I could have done for this poor guy, even in life. This is the aquarium stone from Walmart, by the way. So he went after food, and he got a rock stuck in his throat. And as you can see, I think this is the only amount of, like, actual poo in his body. Really solid eyes. I'm just kind of admiring him now that I have him out and have him opened up and I can see what's going on. But yeah, that's something he never would have passed. And this is something that kind of happens in the wild. So they eat certain stones and they just won't pass. And they've got these heat. Will the flash work now for this? Yeah, look at these. Look at this rib cage, the skin. They have tiny scales. It's just, it is nuts, man. Like I feel so bad this happened. I don't know if that's the air bladder. It has to be. I'm shaking so bad right now. I've started shaking here recently, guys. I don't know if it's you see it. I don't know if it's just nerves or what, but they've got these fine pin bones right here that you can see. One there, there, and there. Eyes still reflective, which I think is so cool. Um, I feel really terrible that the rock was the cause of the death, but I told you guys that this would be it, and as this, it's going to be a keepsake now. So I've got the world's smallest functioning aquarium right here that likes to run out of water, so every now and then I kind of just bloop it into an aquarium and fill it back up. So everything's still living inside of here. The plants are alive, the bacteria is still moving. That's freaking crazy. So this rock is going inside of here because this is like a little, this is something I'm really interested in, something I'm extremely happy with, and a little bit of duckweed just got eaten by the thing. So this is something that can happen, and this is something that I want you guys to take and heed. I want you guys to pay attention to this really closely. That this is an actual thing that you know, your fish can eat the aquarium stones in the bottom and they can die, which I believe is why a lot of people keep their fish in just standard bottom aquariums. And I hadn't really noticed that really. Just cut this piece of plastic real quick. And I hadn't really noticed the trend when it comes to that. So I think if I ever do buy another, I won't be doing it for a while. But if I do ever buy another clown knife fish, I will definitely have it in its own tank, and I will have it in a standard glass bottom with just maybe some floating plants like some Anubias. I know that stuff doesn't have to, I can root it to a rock and it'll be fine. Right now it's just floating in the beta tank. But yeah, here it is inside of the world's smallest functioning aquarium. And inside of here right now, I have Cyclops. I have two Cyclops, two fairy shrimp, and a handful of Infusoria. And on top of that, while I was waiting for him to dry out, I have made some more cultures. Oh, it's over here. So I now have 3 microworm cultures, and this is the best method that I've seen so far that happens. I have to look inside, so that's new split. But yeah, look at this. This is all microworms right here. That's all worms. There's millions, and I've already let this colony get to a good capacity. Like I said, this one was, like when I did the video, this one was done on like December 14th is when I redid it. And the method that I have right here works extremely well. I keep them dark, I keep them cool, I don't keep them warm. And what I do is these are actually beta tanks. Now, this is what Uncle Bill's used to use for their betas. This is what Uncle Bill's use now. Do you see the huge difference? So I actually think these are cute. I really do. If the betas weren't so goddamn expensive now, I'd probably buy a bunch more just to have these containers. And yeah, they're like, the males used to be $4 something a piece, which was nothing. And the females were like $2.50, $3. So I'm like, okay, no big deal. They're just common veil-tail females, nothing biggie. They had the super dumbos, they had the half moons, they had things like that, which is what I have, and that's where I got them from. The new female I got, actually, she was gotten from PetSmart, and both of my koi betas were from The Reef, which is a fish store way down the road from me. And Yeah. So now the females are the exact same price as the males. And it's like, why the fucking inflation all of a sudden? Like, I don't get it. Everywhere else prices are the same, but Uncle Bill's always has to fuck with the prices. I was gonna get 3 brand new, beautiful, gorgeous fucking females, and I already spent $27 on feeders, and I'm like, you know what, fuck. You know, they're like $3 a piece, 3, 6, 9. I'll spend 30. I'll spend 30, 40 bucks roughly. You know, no sweat on some new betas, some new breeder betas, and if I can get this to fruition and take off, you know, I can actually breed them. And with being able to breed them, I can make some money on the side, because if I make some good strains like I'm working on now, I mean, I can make some serious money, because normal betas, they're usually sold to stores for $1.50 to $2 a piece. So if I got 10, that's 20 bucks. And if I have a few thousand, well, there you go. You know, that's two. If I have 2,000, I sell them at $2 a piece. That's 2,000. That's $4,000 right there. So I mean, it's definitely a good thing, especially with the super dumbos. The super dumbos, those motherfuckers are like $25. So it means I can sell them for $15 a piece and still make a killing. Wouldn't be nearly as much as, you know, if I was selling for $25 a piece, but I'd go lower. I'd probably go like I'd probably go like 20 bucks. 20 bucks would be like the minimum I really think I'd want to do. But yeah, so how I do these cultures and why I think this is honestly better than, you know, most other things is because, one, this is the method that really works for me. And so what it is nothing more than a beta tank or a small container of your choice. You can use Ziplocs, which stuff put a hole in the top. I don't use sponges. I use toilet paper. And paper towels. And the reason I use toilet paper or paper towels, why do you have this monster band on you? Is because it's not as aeratable. So as you can see, it's a beta tank. And I have the date and everything, December 4th on here. Even wrote micro and culture cross. And the main reason I put this here is because there's a huge split down the side, and now there's a split in this side, which you can see it right there. But I mean, if I scrape this right now, this is nothing but solid microworms all through this edge here. And there's thousands of them in here. So I took a bunch of them out of the middle and I put them into this tiny one and this other same size culture. And I'm hoping in the next month or so they'll be huge and I can transfer them again and just continue to grow. And some of you were probably thinking like, well, you don't have baby betas yet, so why are you wasting your time? Well, the thing is, I don't have baby betas, but I do have baby guppies. This little mini pond over here still has about 8 or 10 baby guppies inside of it. And on top of it, I get a bunch of baby guppies in with my feeders, because a lot of times I get pregnant females that pop out in the tanks at Uncle Bill's or in the bags to shipping. So I have in this tank back here alone 5 teeny tiny little ones that I've seen, and I have this plant in there, and I have these plants in there, and they hide down inside the plant, so the other ones can't get to them until they get to a certain size, and they grow out of it, and they're no longer, you know, potential food for anything. So yeah, that's why I have the micro cultures going, and plus, if I ever do get into betas, it's going to be better to have a start than end with a start. You feel me? You feel me? You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm moving here. What the fuck is stuck to this thing? But I have a new beta. I did pick up a new female beta. She looks like Delta. Except Delta has the black, Delta doesn't have a black head, this girl does. She has a black head and a blue body. And she's already learning to feed up the top, and one thing that I just discovered today was I always have leftover crickets. Whenever I go out to buy for the dragons, for the tarantulas, and the miscellaneous other reptiles that I have. And I always end up with leftover crickets, and they're usually dead within 24 to 48 hours, so I got to thinking, well, what can I do with them? And then the main thing is, I have nothing right yet that'll just eat them normally other than the dragons, but the dragons ate as many as they want, and then they stop, or they do what the little one likes to do. When she eats so many, she throws up, which is actually kind of funny. That's a dude's voice. I never heard my mother, my father, or my sister, or my dad come inside. Who took my mom to the doctors? I know nothing. It's crazy. But, yeah, here, just real quick, in turn, this is what I'm talking about, right here. See him? There's that little dude right here. Little micro bugger. And then there's one other little dude right over that. Disappear. Oh, there. Look, see, look. There's four tiny ones there. And as you can see, all the smaller ones kind of congregate together. Got a couple in the back there. So I have already tiny breeder guppies going. So that's why I usually do the microworms. But yeah, back to the crickets. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking the heads off, taking all the legs off, and I'm taking off the proboscis. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking the razor knife and I'm cutting about just a tiny bit of their tail off. And what I'm doing from there is I'm squeezing out the eggs and I'm putting them in water and I'm pulling them off because they come off in a sack. And I'm setting them in the water, then I'm sucking them up in the pipettes and I'm squirting them out real fast, which breaks the casing, separates the eggs from the little strenues that they're held onto. And then from there, I'm just piping them into my tanks. And my guppies seem to love them, and I know the betas do. And the thing is, these eggs are full of proteins, which are going to be beneficial for their growth, for their health. And it's going to do the same thing for the betas, because I've already fed a bunch of them off to the betas, and they're kind of stupid. For some reason, my betas have become top feeder oriented when they see me. Even though a lot of the food that I give them kind of sinks, I usually give them, like I said, the Misi shrimp. I was giving them nematodes there for a while. I was giving them fruit flies, which are top oriented at that point. And now, as you guys see, there's a fucking I don't know if this is a coincidence or an actual correlation, but you guys have seen me feed off fruit flies to betas. I'm the only person on YouTube I've ever seen feed fruit flies to betas. Now, the same company that I buy my fruit flies from, well, not the same company that I buy them from, I buy the company that produces them, are now taking the exact same idea I said months ago in a video when I first started doing betas about how convenient it would be if there was a smaller version and it was like a salt shaker almost, to have to open the lid and just knock them in and hope. Now, the same company has exactly what the fuck I was talking about. It's a fucking salt shaker thing about this tall. It's got a little teeny tiny thing to then climb on it, the blue goo and the fruit flies, and it's designed for betas. It's sold for the explicit purpose of beta use. Tell me that's not a fucking coincidence. Tell me it's not, because that's fucked. That is seriously fucked. So, hey, what's going on? Spider Woman, I knew your name and I still had to look at it. So we're talking about I have 3 dead fish. 2 of them are crawdad attacks. One of them is a death due to a blockage, and it was my clown knife fish, and he ate a stone, and the stone is now inside of here, and it is this big one right here. It was stuck in his long intestine, so we couldn't pass it. I'm actually pretty sure it was in his stomach still, and there's a little bit of poop past it, but nothing else. So yeah, sadly he is right here. I let him dry out so I could dissect him to find out what was wrong. I knew obviously it was a rock inside, but I wanted to see what else kind of happened. On top of that, we're talking about all the breeder guppies. I made 2 more micro worm cultures. And this one, as you can see, has taken off. This is the bread line. That is all micro worms. And I'm about to feed the betas. I just got to turn their light on. I have them on nighttime right now, which it's pretty sure it's nighttime outside. What the hell is it nighttime outside? What fucking time is it? I'm in Indiana, so it's 4:50. I should still see sunlight through that tiny little window thing I call a window. But yeah, I got talking about betas, and then you came in with the whole thing of the company doing their thing. Yeah, so that's really about it. And I've got these nematode things from my filtration system, and you can't see them very well. They're little white worms just swimming around in here, and they're actually nematodes. And they're living and breeding in here, and every other day I change out the water for them. So I don't know, but this guy I actually might just go ahead and cut up and turn into crawdad pellets, and feed to the crawdad every day. So maybe he leaves my other fish alone. But yeah, other than that, I've lost 2 goldfish. The only fish lost, and I have the ick problem, which I'm actually about to ick treat the tanks again, which I'm going to do that really quickly. I got like a half a bottle still, so I'm really overproductive with this stuff. The label tore off it, so I usually just squeeze till I feel like it's enough. 3, 2, 1. So for a 20 gallon, I do roughly about 5 drops, and I think that might be a little overkill or underkill. And I was going to feed the snakes the other night, and I put the rats in a warm bucket of water after. And that was when I realized that whenever you put a rat in water, what happens is they loosen up. Well, I've learned over the years when my snakes regurgitate something, it is usually one of the ones that is stiff still whenever I feed it to them. It's loose, but it's stiff. But these ones, all of them were stiff. They were in the same position that they were in that I put them in. Because all mine are fresh killed. I never feed anything live, and the main reason for that is because of misandry and just pure personal, interest in it. That I don't like to feed anything live. I don't. The only two fears that I actually have in this world of how I'm going to die. I'm not worried about burning to death. I'm not worried about drowning. I'm not worried about falling from an extreme height, because when you have to get yourself in that situation for that to happen. It is fucked up, but giant spiders and being eaten alive by a giant spider is a fear of mine. And being constricted to where I can't move. I don't have claustrophobia, but if I can't move and I'm in an extremely tight situation, I lose it. It's a fight for my survival at that point. So it's just something that personally, even as a young child, I didn't find to be appealing to watch. Even on TV, when a snake would get a hold of something, I'd look away until it was already dead and it was game over. If there was noise, the TV volume would go down, and I was kind of a snowflake as a kid. I wasn't like a little bitch snowflake, but I was more like, I don't want to see that, I don't want to hear that. But I mean, it's natural to have that feeling when something's being killed in front of you. Like if I'm in the wild, and I see a snake with a fish, I can't tell you how many times I've taken away fish from snakes. I can't tell you how many times I've saved rabbits from black snakes, or rats from black snakes, or even chickens from black snakes. Them motherfuckers are crazy. They get 10 feet long, about that big around. You don't fuck with black snakes. Docile as hell, but I still don't like dealing with them. I have a soft spot for animals, and I can't stand to see anything have to suffering. If I have to mercy kill something, I've mercy killed many things in my life. Due to injuries, due to just pure fucking mutilation from animals. Mainly when we lived on a farm, chickens were a huge thing that was always attacked by raccoons and coyotes. The cows were attacked by coyotes. We had wolves on the property that were doing some damage. I can't stand to see things suffer. Bugs, I kind of run a blind eye to, because they don't have a cerebral cortex like ours. They don't really feel pain. They don't make noise. I don't really know if fish feel pain. I mean, I do use fish for bait, and I do cut them in half, but I never cut a live fish. I always put something through their head, smash their brain really quickly, and just dispatch them before I use them, unless I'm using live minnows, and then it's through the mouth and it's out there quickly. They'll survive for a long time, and if they get off, they're gonna live. Unless something eats them when they get off the hook. But it's just, I'm rambling now. I'm still sick. I am not sure what's going on. I keep getting worse, then better, then worse again. It's driving me absolutely nuts. And I got this cool new cutting board. A little survival cutting board. I think I'm going to start taking with me to the rivers and stuff. Mainly because I'm sick of fucking destroying my knives in dirt and rocks. But yeah, everybody just got icked. Even this tank back here, I put a shit ton in it and there's no change. I am going to ick the Senegalese thing just to be safe, and my little ponds, because water does get changed around sometimes. Like if I need water in a tank fast, I usually take it from the 55, just a small amount to use. The betas are the only thing that in my opinion are safe right now, because the betas have had zero contact with any other fish, and if I have the ick issue, I always wash my hands beforehand. But I'm tired, I'm hot, and I haven't had any dip in 20, 40 hours, 34 to 40 hours at this point. I got back into chewing tobacco, and I can feel it. I don't really want it. I don't need it either, but it's kind of like just I don't know. I can't explain it. It's like smoking. It's a habit. I've been a dipper for 8 years now. I'd say 6.5 at best. And I keep stopping and getting back into it, just mainly because of stress and I guess you could call it anxiety to a point. I don't get those. I have two moods: happy, pissed off. Actually, with third, complacent, and I'm fine. But yeah, recently stress has just gotten me to a point with my job and bills, and my dad being on unemployment because his job put him on layoff. My job hasn't called me back in 10 days now, and it's driving me absolutely freaking batty. Um, and still no word from Amazon. I mean FedEx about my salt water, and I keep calling Chewy and getting nothing out of them. I'm gonna call corporate again and see what's going on because apparently they're laying a shit ton of people off, and if you don't get called back in, you're laid off. And it's to a point now where layoff is such a thing. They actually called my buddy's wife the other day and told her, "Don't worry about coming in today." And that's layoff. That's what they do to you. So yeah. So anyway, tarantulas. I have to get feeders for snakes because I have none. I had a bunch of them, and then they were thrown out when the freezer was cleaned out because, quote unquote, they looked like they were bad, which they probably were. I'm not gonna say they weren't. Um, but I had around 20 feeders in there, and they're all gone except for those handful, and I gotta feed the garter snakes. And I got the 3 corn snakes over here. I got one you haven't even seen yet. 2 actually, I think you haven't even seen yet. And right now, I got them on brumation. I got water in there with them, but they're staying room temperature. I don't have any lights or anything else on them. I'm just kind of keeping them cool down. Main reason for that is because I'm trying to breed my 2 big females this year. Technically, it's 2019 now, and you have to brumate them for such and such amount of time. So I'm pretty much watching Brian Barczyk, and I'm keeping an eye on his videos because he's already got his on brumation, and I've had mine on brumation for like 2 months now, and they're not losing weight, they're just sleeping. They're alive. They wake up every now and then, they get some water, then they hide right back in the t-shirts. I put t-shirts in there when I brumate my snakes, and I mainly started doing this like 2.5 years ago. And the reason I put t-shirts in there is because they're dark. I always wear black t-shirts. I don't ever wear anything flashy, colorful. It's always black with designs on it. I don't know why, I just always wore black clothing, even as a kid. I put anything else on, I felt like a balloon. I still do. But they get inside the t-shirts and it's dark, and they go to sleep. They're complacent, and they hibernate, and then when they choose that it's time for them to wake up, they drink some water, and then they're good to go again. I have never lost a snake doing it, and this is pretty much what everybody else does. They keep them around 60 degrees, 60 to 65 degrees, and then, that's usually complacent for them. And none of them have been active. None of them have been hungry. They're not losing weight because their metabolism slows down for this. And the big red female, this is her first go around. My girl Rose, she had it happen. I did it to her 2 times, and she lost a little weight the first time because she wasn't ready for it. And I'm pretty sure that these other 3 over here are gonna have the same issue. But I mean, they're not gonna lose so much weight that it's gonna be a real problem, that it's not something I can't combat once I wake them back up and I say it's time for the heats and everything else. So I'm gonna watch and keep an eye on Brian Barczyk's videos, and once he brings his out, that's when around time I'm gonna bring mine out, because like I said, he's professional. He's a professional breeder, so I'm gonna listen to what he has to say versus a lot of other newbies. Who that? Someone was just over there. Hello? But I don't know, man. Just like with my neighbor's dogs, like I don't have an issue with my neighbors personally. They're new to the neighborhood, so I ain't gonna front on it. But if you have animals that that chew through their chains constantly because you have them on these stupid strap leashes, and your dogs may not be aggressive, but take someone like me who doesn't really know the animals, and all I get is a dog that immediately approaches me and just starts barking and growling. And this could be a dog I can walk up to and pet and everything else like that. And it's like, I don't know this animal. I don't know what it's capable of. I don't know what it's going to do. I never leave my house without a knife whenever I'm walking the streets. Main reason is dogs. I won't use it on a person unless I absolutely have to. But a dog is something that cannot be reasoned with, something that cannot be talked into stopping if it decides it's game time. And I've been attacked by a few dogs. I've been ran down by some few dogs, and I've ran down dogs. And I've been notorious in the neighborhood for when it came to pit bulls, Rottweilers, things like that run the streets. I'm the guy that takes off out the door after them. Because, I mean, we've had people pinned in their cars, people pinned on their porches, people just pinned down on the ground just completely without being able to get off. I've broken up dog fights before. I've put dogs to sleep with chokeholds. I have a switch in my head that if I decide it's time to shut off, I can shut it off. And it's a switch to where, I'm compassionate and I'm a good guy, but it's a switch that I shut off and I'm no longer that guy. And that's only for like a real situation. So with like, let's go with last year, middle of the summer, people live down the street from me, down the 3 houses down from me. They had a pit bull. Her name was Juno. Absolutely gorgeous blue nose pit, friendly as hell to everybody. Problem was, she's an ex-fighting dog, and what happened? Some guy moved in, and they allowed him to bring over his tiny, smaller pit bull who wanted to play with Juno. Well, Juno was pretty territorial. They had a few scraps, little nipping matches, rah, 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 nothing crazy. And then, shortly after all this went down, they had him outside, and the little one grabbed Juno's favorite tennis ball, and all hell broke loose. Because Juno came running over, barking. The other dog got excited. He wanted to play, and he started, doing it back at her, and Juno went on the attack. And Juno snatched the other dog by the muzzle. They were screaming, fighting, crying, trying to get the dogs apart, and all they're doing is staying there screaming. And at one point, they picked up this long-ass, like, surfboard-looking skateboard, like a longboard, and they started whacking Juno in the head. So I just heard people screaming. I heard dogs going off. I grabbed my gun. Now, I have a 9mm. This is real. There's nothing childish about this. This is constantly loaded and ready to go whenever I need it. This is for home protection and my family's protection if necessary. And if the necessity ever arises that I have to use this, if I can physically not take care of the situation at hand. So what I did is I grabbed my gun. It was already upstairs. It was on me. I heard people screaming. I heard dogs. Instinctively, I thought someone was being attacked. I didn't know if it was people, if it was dogs. So I grabbed my gun for the worst case scenario. And it was a stupid thing I did. I grabbed the gun and I took off out the door and I stuffed it in my waistband. And I took off bolting down the street once I saw them hitting the dog with the wakeboard. And I came running over, and the owners are standing there screaming while one of the owners is beating the other dog. And the thing is with pit bulls, they have this thing called lockjaw, and they will just lock down, and if they're under attack, they will not let go of what's in front of them. Be damned what's going on around them. They have that target in front of them. They have a hold that they are going to fucking kill it, or they're going to die trying. That is what lockjaw on a pit bull means. I've had to deal with it in the past. It's not pretty. My brother had pit bulls that he picked up off the street. They'd get into it. I had to help him break them up. It's not fun. So I ran over there, saw what was going on, stopped them from doing what they were doing. I had them snatch the little dog, and they were trying to pull the little dog away, and I told them to fucking stop. And I actually had to snatch the dude and yank him forward when he started pulling on the dog. Granted, it was his dog. He was trying to protect it, but all he was doing was making Juno pull harder. It was making her more aggressive because now it's a tug-of-war match. Now it's no longer, it's no longer safe for the dog, and it could have destroyed the dog's muzzle, and she almost did. She almost really hurt this dog. And so eventually what ended up happening was I tried to pry her mouth open. I popped my clip out of my gun. I shoved it in her throat. I twisted it trying to pull her mouth open. I took the barrel of the gun, emptied the chamber, stuck it in. I told him I wasn't going to shoot it, and I started prying. It wasn't working. I couldn't get past her canine. She had such a lockdown. Her teeth were so close together. And I said eventually, I looked at my buddy and I said, dude, I'm sorry. And I just locked her. I just picked her up off the ground. About 10 seconds went by, and that dog just released. She went to sleep, and I walked her, and I swung her, and I threw her into her fucking cage, and she laid there for like 3 minutes, and then she started coughing. That was when she came to, and she looked at me with the saddest fucking eyes ever, like she knew she fucked up. And like it hit me hard, because I shut the switch off, and I was damn near certain ready to kill this dog if I had to, because she was clearly the aggressor. She was the bigger threat. And this is what police do. Police go into a situation. It's like, say you're fighting someone and you're the person that has them on the ground beating the shit out of the person that was attacking you. What are the police going to see? They're going to see you as the aggressor. The individual on the ground could potentially be the victim. You are now the number one suspect. You're in cuffs quicker than they are. Same thing as if they walk in and there's someone in your fucking there's someone in your bedroom and you got an axe and you're trying to bust the door down and it's a home invader and they see you with an axe, you're liable to get shot if you're not compliant. And so I shut the switch off. I snatched her up, and I love this dog to death. She was such a good dog. We used to walk over all the time, give her treats. She loved seeing us. I pet her constantly. And she was just a friendly dog. Never seemed like an angry animal. Never seemed happy. But that day, she just had enough with that little puppy. And she snapped. And thankfully, Both dogs ended up being okay in the end. There was some mouth damage. There was a tear under Juno's neck where she caught her own jaw when she bit this dog. And I felt so bad because after that, Juno never looked at me the same way. Like, Juno knew she messed up. Like, she'd come over, her little nub tail would be pushed down. She'd come walking over all head down, looking at me with puppy dog eyes, like, pet me, I'm sorry. And it was like, it used to be she'd run up to me all happy and shit, and then it was like this, she was more timid around me, she was more frightened, and then I, realized I showed her that I was the alpha. She knew who did what happened. And she was never the same with her owners again because of what they were doing to her. When you're punching a dog in the head, you're not doing anything to a fucking pit bull. All you're doing is pissing it off. And when you're hitting in the head with a boogie board, all you're doing is pissing it off. I tried the nice approach. I tried to pry her mouth open, which now that I think about it, what could have been a very bad situation for me, especially if she had gone lockjaw on me. So say I got her mouth open, well, what am I going to do there? They're going to yank that dog up. She's still in fight mode. She's going to go after them or somebody, and who's next to her? Me. So what inevitably could have happened if I hadn't choked her out and put her in her cage? What could happen is if she was still in fight mode when I pulled her off that other dog and I set her down, or I pulled her off never even really messing with her and they got the dog away, I was a target. I was now officially attacking her. So I was number one target at that point. She could have turned around and attacked me, went lockjaw on me, and then it was, You're what? My staff is submissive to me at all times. What do you mean your staff? Your staffy. I can't read right now, I'm sorry. But yeah, she could have grabbed onto me and it would have been a different scenario. And if I had shot her, I would have went to jail. Because I have a firearm that's registered to me, but I do not have a CCW, which is a carry concealed weapon. Without that, I cannot legally leave my property. I can shoot somebody on my property within certain guidelines as long as they're coming at me and they're not running away. I mean, and this is where it's kind of touchy. I can't shoot them in the back. Oh, okay. See, yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that whenever you said staffy. I can shoot him in the leg, and that's perfectly fine. But as long as I don't aim center mass, I'm fine. But if I aim for like the head, the back, it is a serious issue that can wind up with me potentially in jail for murder charges. Be damned what the person just did if they broke into my house and attacked my family or que sera sera. But I mean, I have this only for necessity, and I don't like pulling it out. And the thing is, when I first got it, I carried it all the time because during that time, I was waiting for stuff to happen because stuff had happened in the past, and I wasn't about to start playing with people anymore. And that's not why I got the gun at all. I was never going to use it. It was more like a, you need to fuck off kind of shit. Like, if you're going to be on my property, you need to fuck off. And then there, more and more, I realized that I still don't need this. Like, I always had it on me in case eventuality happened. I always had it close by. It used to be upstairs in a high cabinet in our living room, which is no longer there. Now the kids have started coming over. Now it's in the basement. Yeah, guns are illegal in the UK. You guys are only allowed to have, like, batons and tasers and knives and shit. And you get a taser, I would not mind getting a taser, honestly, but I'd probably be stupid. And watch this shit, just I can't be trusted with a taser. That's why my parents keep theirs in their bedroom. But no, when it comes to any weapon, I'm extremely cautious. I'm extremely safe. I always pay attention to my surroundings. I am not an expert by any means, but I can promise you right now, I can outshoot 90% of the people. In fact, there are police officers I can guarantee right now I can shoot fucking 10 times straighter than they can. Because I watch cops, live PD all the time. There was one, and I like to have died. I really did. There was like 20 police officers surrounding this RV. And there was a guy inside with a gun of some kind, and he had 2 women hostages. Well, once the women got outside and they got away, the guy started shooting. There were 15 officers, and there were 52 rounds pumped inside this RV. Now, bear in mind, this is what didn't make sense to me. They're all in a cross pattern with each other. They're in the straight line of fire. They're unloading on this RV. The guy was hit 3 times. 3 times. Another incident, 2 officers were dealing with a suspect who ended up having a knife. The suspect came at them point blank, charged them. They hollered 3 or 4 times. Stop. We're going to shoot you. Stop, sir, stop. They yelled fire. Game over. Two police officers from less than 8 feet away. There were 27 rounds. There were 18 rounds shot, and there were 3 hits. 2 from one officer and 1 from another. You couldn't hit this motherfucker from 10 feet. I would have been loaded an entire 12-round clip into his ass with no problem whatsoever. I have been trained in gun safety and weapon safety all my entire life, ever since I was a little kid. I've always had a gun. I've always known what to do. I've always had BB guns. I've had slingshots. I've had bows and arrows. I make my own weapons, for God's sakes. I am an expert. Give me a piece of paper and I will shiv a bitch with it. Plain and simple. I know what to do. I am extremely intelligent when it comes to this. This is why this is why when I was a kid, people thought that I was a danger. This is why I was on so many medications. My parents didn't like it, but I was such an angry child, and I hated it. And now that I think about it as an adult, I'm still an angry person. I really am, but I try to bottle it up, but just certain times, I can't help it. You know, it just happens. And I don't take medication for it anymore because I didn't like what it was doing to me, so I refused to take it as a child because all it would ever do would just... That's it. I didn't have a personality. I wasn't the same person. I didn't go outside. I stayed inside and stared at a wall. For 6 weeks, guys. I stayed inside and went to school. That was it. No video games, no TV. I was sat in the living room and I stared at a wall. Drool coming out my mouth. That was Risperdal. That's why I have titties. These are actual boobs. These aren't man boobs. Well, they're moobs, but these are boobs. There's breast tissue inside of here. Mainly because I have male gynecomastia, which is the development of breast tissue in men, teens, and adolescents. And it's from Risperdal. And the motherfuckers denied me for a suit, even though I have 70% inside here. I can't get rid of it. It's not something that I can bench press away. I had fucking huge chests when I was younger. I bench pressed constantly. Max bench press was 365 pounds. I could do 8 reps with that. My deadlifts were over 500 pounds. And I still had them. They were just built up bigger. They were on it. That's why I'm such a broad individual now. My body's still trained for it. And I used to be bigger. Max weight I used to be was 365 pounds. I made it a mission that at one point I would bench press my old weight during my weight loss process. So I always made it a mission to remember how much I weighed, and eventually I was able to bench press myself 8 times. Then I got out of weightlifting because I threw my rotator cuff out, and then the car accident happened, and I got all fucked, and now I can't bench press like I used to because of my disc, and if I do and it slips or it compresses more, I could literally become paralyzed from about here down, which is not a good topic at all. So I had to give up and I had to stop, but I mean, I never want to have to use this. I really don't. But if worst case scenario comes, I'm not afraid to use it. I'm really not. It's just people have such an issue, and these fucking snowflake leftists out here. Every goddamn time I turn around, they're triggered by something. People have been triggered by my video because I showed the Centipede video. I had to delete the fucking Centipede video because of all the hate I was getting because people didn't like the content. Because people were upset that I went as far as to dissect it to prove a point. Because people were offended by what they saw. The thumbnail was clearly a centipede's back torn open and exposed to show what happened. And for you, if you haven't been here very long, I haven't really seen you much in the comments unless you change your name and you change your profile picture. I don't know much about you. I had a giant centipede about 8.5 inches. And I got it from Uncle Bill's, paid $52 for it. Expensive as hell, and I love that thing to death. But it only ever ate like 10 times. And about 5 months after I got it, it was losing weight. It was really lethargic. I made a video where I was handling it and it bit me. I dropped it on the floor. I picked it back up. It was crawling around fine, still lethargic as hell. People were telling me that I put it in the refrigerator, that it was already dying. And yes, it was already dying. And I told people in the video that she's sick, she's dying, she's not going to make it. No big deal. That video got 182,000 views in about 6 weeks. It went viral. It hit like 80,000 views in one day. I like to have shit myself, and then slowly views started piling up after that. And everybody at first was like, holy crap, that's crazy. Thankfully that you care enough about your animals that you picked it up and made sure it was okay. Even after it bit you, you didn't leave it in the floor, stomp on it, whatever. And then some people came over and they started doing some bullshit and they started talking all smack, and some idiots got on here who had no idea what they were talking about. Next thing you know, my whole channel was flooded with bullshit because people are nitpicking every little thing I said wrong. And I said, fuck it. And eventually what happened is the video got reported and then it got taken down by YouTube. And I got pissed off because it was the highest viewed video on my channel. And I wasn't making money off it. I did it for a scientific purpose. She was backed up. So I don't like feeding my thing. I don't like feeding insects pinkies. It was the calcium. That's all they ever fed her. And she had a calcium buildup halfway through her, and it was a hard rock. There was nothing I could have done to have saved her. She was sick from the beginning. I just didn't know it. But, I mean, I don't even know how the fuck I got off on that topic. I am just rambling. I am bored. I haven't hardly talked to anybody today, and I'm just... This is why I shouldn't have a YouTube channel. Quick update. I have pine trees now that I gathered from one of the rental properties. And, pulling them up right now because these guys are about... Yeah, they really are, and that's kind of the issue of being on YouTube. But, I mean, if you're going to do something like YouTube, you have to be strong. You can't get on here and be snowflaked about it and be offended by everything. If you get offended by everything, you won't get anywhere in this world. And that's why all these bitch-ass fucking Antifa snowflake whores are living with their parents, they're smoking pot, and they're doing nothing with their lives. But we, the people, deserve nothing because you are nothing. You're trash. If any of you Antifa fuckers watch this, you are garbage, and I dare you to try to say something different. Because you are. You plain and simply are. You stand for nothing. You don't want to do anything. And I've ran into people that were Antifa. It didn't end well for them because of their mouths. I'm pretty intelligent when it comes to certain shit. I just don't show it. In fact, I always make it, even here on YouTube, I make people think I'm dumber than I actually am, so people leave me the fuck alone. And in the real world, this is a big issue with me, and this is something I've even done as a child. I'm extremely intelligent. I can make anything out of anything. I'm a MacGyver. That's what I'm nicknamed around my neighborhood. If there's a problem, I can make something and fix something for you. Now, that happened with one neighbor, and then every other fucking neighbor I turned to, they needed something, they needed some help. So I've always been someone who can make something out of nothing. You know, give me a stick and a piece of bubble gum and I'll make a bow and arrow, or I'll make a fucking pipe. You know, I have a way with doing things that's unconventional and out of the box. And it's like, anymore I've just, with certain people, I've dumbed myself down so they leave me the hell alone. I don't know. It's a lot of responsibility when you know how to do a lot of things. You're kind of a jack of all trades, and you know someone says something and you end up stuck doing 40 different things, and it's like you have shit to do, and these people are bitching because you won't help or you did help, and they want you to help with something else. And then you tell them I can't, I have plans. They want to get mad. Hence why I stopped doing what I used to do, you know. And I used to do stuff before I became known as the MacGyver in the neighborhood that I'm not too proud of, and I'm not going to that topic. I did a video on that a long time ago. And that would be a video after I deleted half the videos on my channel, and I started talking about why I started doing YouTube and what it saved me from doing and becoming. I got into some shit when I was a kid to make money, and it wasn't the greatest life for me. And I did things that I'm not proud of, and I hurt a lot of people. And all the people that I hurt was really for a reason. It was mainly if they had children and they were on drugs and, you know, things like that, and they were really, really fucking up. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I broke into a few houses, and I took care of a few people, you know, middle of the fucking day. I didn't care. Neighbors saw me and everything, but the neighbors knew why I did it. I had a really cute baby face as a kid, so, even up to, like, I still have a baby face. If I shave this off, I have a baby face. But I had a real baby face. Like, at 15, I looked like I was 10 still, and some people liked that, and they paid me really well to do some things, and the cops never really messed with me because I was so sweet. I looked like just a little white kid walking down the street. No one's gonna look at me when I was that age and go, oh, he's doing it. We need to get him. Stop him. No one ever did that. I mean, I did get stopped by the police a couple times, but it was never for that. It was always, hey, what's up, man? What you doing? It was always cops that I knew and cops that I got friendly with, you know? Thank you. A lot of people don't. But I mean, I did some shit as a kid I'm not proud of, shit I don't like talking about, shit I wish I hadn't done, but it's stuff I did do. There's nothing I can do to change what happened in the past. All I can do is look forward to the future, and that's what the animals are. The animals keep me complacent. They keep me mentally stable. They keep me from wanting to revert to old habits that I should not be in, but thankfully the guy that I was working for is no longer around. He's way the fuck across town. We're still cool. I don't hardly talk to him, but I fucking love Black Grandma. She's the coolest shit ever. And my boy, he's just, like, once he got hurt, man, like, he went downhill from there, and he kind of lost it, and that's when he ended up moving, and that's when he ended up getting out of the habit once he started having his kids back. And, you know, he went from doing what he was doing to getting his kids back, and he changed his whole outlook. You know, he quit doing what he was doing. He quit, you know, distributing products and things like that for other larger companies, if you catch my drift. And, you know, from there on, I mean, he changed. He's not even the same guy anymore. He goes to church every Sunday. He's got a nice house. His wife cleaned herself up. You know, the kids are always healthy. They look nice. They're always happy people. I mean, is Black Grandma, and I'm not gonna say my buddy's name in case there's some shit about it, you know, because I haven't talked to him for a while now, so he could have gotten some shit, and someone sees this, and I say his name, and they're like, oh shit, hold up, he knows him, and he go talk to him. You know, please confide your address anywhere. And if someone goes, hey, we saw this video, and they said the guy's name, hello, you know, I don't want to deal with that. But I won't be in trouble for anything, I can tell you that right now, but I mean, he hasn't moved in fucking 6.5, 7 years now, so I mean, he's still there. Hey Jess, but I mean, it's just, it is what it is, you know, people have changed their ways. Oh cute, yay, what? No, look at this, this is all nasty right here. Got new earrings though, they're like screws, they're cool as hell. I actually like these things. They were $2 on Wish. I couldn't beat it, and they came 3 days early. So I mean, they're not pop-ons; they're screw-ons, and they're really annoying because my ears are huge and they don't really have to squish them in. But yeah. So anyway, this has been a long-ass video, and I was like alone for like 30 minutes by myself rambling. So I feel bad for the people who watch this after I upload it, which is very few people. My thing is, if like you're doing if you're watching live streams, I know y'all just keep flirting. It raises my ego, the already huge existing ego of how sexy I actually am. I'm a fucking doughboy, all right. I am the Pillsbury man in the fucking living flesh. But anyway, any new fish to talk about? I got the 2 albino tiger Oscars from free from Walmart. I have a beautiful Molly that loves to follow me around the tank when he's hungry and when he's bored. And if I put my finger in there, he comes and starts nibbling at it. It's funny. I got 2 micro goldfish and over, I'd say close to 200 feeder guppies. So that's all that's going on right now. But I'll tell you right now, I am hot as hell down here. When I tell people I keep it fucking 75, 80 degrees year round down here, it's not a lie. Even this summer, it's going to be a bit of an issue for me because I am going to have a fan down here, which is going to screw the temperature up down here. But it should still stay in the 70s, and I think what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to make like a hammock system down here, run from that side of the room to that side of the room, so I won't have to worry about a bed, and if I do put a fan up, I can suspend the fan beside me, brace it to the ground with about 50 pounds of weight so it can't spin. And then from there, that'll allow the animals to have all the heat they need from the ground up, but, you know, all I have in my breeze coming through. You both are in the UK, so you're fucked either way. I mean, just, y'all are screwed. Y'all really are, you're just screwed. But yeah, Jess, since you're here, video so far has been about 3 dead fish, sadly, that passed away. I've had 2 goldfish that were attacked and killed by the crawdad, and then the clown knife fish, he's dead. And I did a dissection, and what ended up happening was he had eaten a stone. And it's one of my aquarium stones, and it blocked the system, so he just slowly died over time of starvation. Yeah, I gotta talk about that. I made some more micro worm cultures. I didn't make those on videos, I made them off. I talked about guns and everything else, and shit I witnessed today, shit that happened to my mom, and just a lot of bullshit with dogs, and it's been a day. It's been a very big day, and I'm extremely tired. I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. Y'all are fucking weird. What do you change your profile picture to? I can't see it. It's just tiny. It's so tiny for me. But yeah, still no word from work. It's been 12 days now. I keep calling them. They're not responding to my text messages. I called corporate already. Oh, now I see. It's got a red back and its legs are thrown out. Yeah, I love those things. I wouldn't mind having a couple of those. Those are so cool. Did you see the Christmas one they did? Where they had like presents and maracas and it was so fucking cute with those things. They're so cool. But, yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. I don't know. There's just something about a jumping spider that I can't look at it and go, ooh, you're ugly. I have to go, oh my god, it's so adorable. Like even the ones I find outside, like I found one this year already. It was a few weeks, about 3 weeks ago at this point. It was right before I came down with conjunctivitis, and yeah, 3.5 weeks ago at this point, maybe 4. I don't know. But she had a nest on top of the mailbox at the property that I was cleaning out. This is the one I ended up spending the night at to make sure it was clean by morning. And I didn't notice her during the nighttime, but apparently she had made a web on top and she just died inside of it. But apparently it had been there for a while because the lid was flipped up for mail to come in, obviously, and we had closed it down and she was, inside of her nest casing and all the babies had hatched out. And I pulled her out of it and she was about that big, black female, and she looked like a regal jumping spider, and I could just see her eyes, and I'm like, I almost cried, honestly. Like, I got that kind of emotional about it because she was so pretty. But, I mean, I knew at the same time that her genes had been passed on, and people often ask me why I try to breed my tarantulas, why I'm always hunting for males with females that I have. And like I tell people, the main reason is because nothing should ever have its life ended completely. Whenever you have children, your life had meaning. Your life was something, and your genes, genetics, and your spirit are always going to be there. As long as they're alive, as long as the genetics continue, you will always be there. And that's what I try to do with the spiders, and people get real pissy with me. Because they're like, you don't have to breed it, but I want the genetics to go on. Because if the genetics don't go on, this particular species, that's the end of the spider. That's the end of that in particular spider's life. There's nothing else to carry it on. It's why I'm trying to find the female desert blonde and the male striped meat. And I keep fucking with Mags, telling him that I'm gonna breed them. I'm gonna crossbreed them, but I'm not gonna crossbreed them. I mean, even if I was to crossbreed them, they're not something I would sell. It would be more for like a theatrical kind of thing to see what the babies would look like. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see, honestly, but it's just not something that I want to do. But I'm extremely tired. I'm bored. I almost look like I'm high or drunk. Like, my eyes are still fucked up from the conjunctivitis. They haven't changed. My health has went from here to completely down here, and I had tonsillitis 3 days ago, and it went away. I've had several huge tonsil stones pop out of my tonsils finally. I have something eating away at one of my tonsils in the back. It looks like a canker sore of some kind. I keep getting sinus infections. I keep getting this weird throat thing going on with me where my voice keeps wanting to change. Yay! But I mean, my health is going from like so high to being normal, and then it dropped on me. It's like I was skydiving and my fucking chute didn't open, and I just slammed down, and that's how my health is doing right now. It's just changing, like fucking weirdo. But my cousin Amber came up yesterday, and my cousin Amber's handicapped. She's paralyzed from the waist down, been paralyzed for 18 years. She was 16 years old when it happened. They were going down the back road. She was in the back seat with 2 friends up front and another person in the back. She didn't have her seatbelt on. I do. I really do. She didn't have her seatbelt on. They were doing about 75 on the back roads, and they had a head-on collision with another car. Sweet, home cooking. And Amber went through the windshield into the other car window. No, they hit it. Did they hit a tree or did they hit another car? They hit something. And I swear to God, it's another car, but it could have been a tree. But she went through the windshield, and she destroyed her spine, and she has a bar in the middle of her back now holding her up. But any other time I can carry her. She's only like 150 pounds. She's extremely light. I usually pick her up and just walk off with her. But yesterday, when I picked her up, my health has dropped so low. I got about halfway to the house with her. She parked about 8 cars away from my house, which is around 40 feet. So carrying her 40 feet from my house, the extra 10 feet into my door, so around 50 feet roughly. That's not including the uphill climb, the stairs, and then the inside turns, and I almost whacked her off the door. But I got about halfway through, and my head started getting a little heavy, and my arms started hurting. And then I got into my door, and my fucking heart just went. It was like somebody was just beating the shit out of it. I couldn't breathe. My breathing was rapid again, like that shit that happened to me at work. And I set her down, and I went and I sat down, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't catch my breath. My pulse was racing. My arms had went numb. And I'm sitting here looking at this going, what the fuck just happened to me? And I realized that I had officially lost all my strength. I couldn't even move. I was just stable there. I was stuck. And then it came to the point of taking her out when she was leaving. Because she drives. She had her son Bentley with her and everything. She's got hand controls, and apparently someone who's paraplegic, their legs can have spasms. And when she opened the door, when I went out there to get her, she threw her legs up and they just started fucking shaking. And I stepped back and I stared at her for a minute, and I'm like, what the fuck? When did those start working? And she's like, that happens sometimes. And I'm like, that can happen? I'm like, I thought the whole link system was gone. Like, there was no signal getting through. She's like, no, signal's getting through for some reason. And I'm like, how the fuck? But I was fascinated by it, and it kind of disturbed her a little bit of how fascinated I was. Not disturbed, it made her self-conscious about it, and I wasn't trying to be mean to her, and I always make jokes. My Aunt Sherry, she's fucking 450 pounds. We throw fat jokes at each other constantly. I'm 245, 235, 245, something like that. We throw fat jokes back and forth just like me and her son do. He's 6'2", he's like 6'2", 330 pounds. I mean, he's a fucking hog too, but all the boys in the family, we're all tall. We're all, me and Jonathan, we're the two biggest. I'm the bulkiest by far. Jonathan's more low body heavy. I'm more upper body heavy. So when we go at it, it's funny as hell. Because I can't grip him because of his stomach. It's like a blanket that goes over him. So I can't really grip him. So I gotta try to get his fucking tree trunk of a leg and pick him up. And then once I get him up, I can't shift his weight because it's all on one side. And I gotta like fucking throw him like this. And it's so easy to pick my ass up because all my weight is center mass up top. So I'm easily moved. But everybody in this family, we all crack jokes about each other. We do keep certain topics off the table, but my cousin Amber, it's been 18 years. She will throw a joke about it, so quickly. And it was 8 years ago that we actually found out that she was pregnant. Well, 9 years technically, if you want to include the 9 months till birth for Bentley. And she was pregnant, and we're all like, how the fuck did that happen? Like, nothing works down there. And apparently what happened is her vagina, I don't know how the fuck you say it, it's still functional. And what happened was the eggs were above the fucking cutoff line, I guess. And sperm got up in there to the eggs, and 9 months later, Bentley was born. And he just fucking flew out. It was crazy to think that, after all this time of her being told, no children, you can't have kids, that she has a son now. And I gotta think back and sit back and think, my mom got told the same thing. My mother was told that she was going to be barren, that she was never going to have children. And then, a few years after that, 9 months later, your boy comes out. And then, again, my mom ended up having, not again, but my mom ended up having a miscarriage between me and my sister. So that would have been potentially someone who would have existed and my sister wouldn't have. So I don't know if I would have had a little brother, still had a little sister. I don't know who that person would have been. I kind of sit back and I wonder, what life would have been like with that person if there were three of us, But at the same time, I have to sit back and think of, the joys that I've had over the time with my sister. I love her to death. I'd fucking die for her. I'd kill for her. But, after that, about 3 years after my birth, it was like a year into me being like a year and a half old that the miscarriage happened. And then it was a year and a half after that, 3 years roughly, in between my birth to my sister, because I'm 3 years older than she is. I'm 23, she's 20 now. So it's something that's fascinating, but I went to carry her back out of the house, my cousin Amber. And I got her halfway across the porch, and God saved me. We have this great big fucking semi-jack, and for some reason, my brother took it from the garage, and this is my half-brother, by the way. I keep wanting to say step-brother, which, he's not my step-brother, he's my half-brother. Same dad, different mother. But he had put the giant-ass jack on the porch, and I didn't see it, and I stubbed my toe while I had a hold of her, and I about threw her off the porch with me. So I had to yank back real quick, pick her up, and I hollered at my mom, grab a chair, grab a chair, and she's like, why? And I broke my toe. I actually threw it at a socket, and it was so swollen, and then about an hour later, I had to pop it back in. So eventually what had to happen is we had to get the wheelchair, and I had to push her back, which would have been so much more convenient the first time. But I got to really realizing, like, after that happened, and all the shit that's happened at work, and how sick I've been, and that attack where I almost fucking died, not once, but two times at work now. The one where my throat closed up and the one where my heart rate was at 52 beats a minute. That was the slowest it's ever been. My pulse was almost nothing, and I was still coherent looking at people. And that's when they rushed me to the hospital. They checked me for everything. I blacked out about 3 times on the way to the hospital with the EMTs. I blacked out about 8 times in the hospital because I kept sitting there, and the remote wasn't working for the TV, so it was dead silent. So I'm just sitting here and I'm looking around, and then I'd wake up. And like, what the fuck? And it's like there were people over there, and now it's dark out in the hallway. There's no one in that room. I'm just like, what kind of horror movie is this? And it just kept happening and happening, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. My breathing was stopping. I couldn't breathe at points. I was punching myself in the chest, and the doctors were nowhere to be seen for hours. I couldn't holler. There was no buzzer I could push. It was really, really shit hospital. But the only thing that really kept me going at the time was every time a baby is born, they have a prayer, and they have this little sound that goes off, and it's this beautiful wind chime sound, and I kept thinking about that, and to me, that was the coolest thing ever. And there were, like, I'd say there were about 8 babies born in that, I think that 11 and a half hours I was in the hospital. My nose is starting to run now. Getting a little, it looks like I'm getting emotional, but my eyes are just that fucked up still. But I mean, it was the one thing that I really had to focus on, and it just, that sound, every time I hear it, I think of my little nephew Maverick, you know, and it's just like, it was crazy. It really was. But, yeah. Almost dying really wakes your ass up sometimes. It really does. And, like, that day at the hospital, that day at work, I had never felt weaker. I had never felt more vulnerable in my life than at that point right there. I was still functioning. I was still there. I was still me. But at the same time, it was like anything could have happened, and there was nothing I could do about it. And it's like the fact that I was breathing so heavily and so rapidly, but I'm looking at everybody and everything's going just normal speed, and I'm breathing normal, but everybody was telling me that I was taking short, quick, rapid breaths, and I'm like, I don't remember that. I don't remember a whole lot of what happened. And it's like, I remember the cool-ass gay manager coming and talking to me and asking me if I wanted to go to the hospital, and if I needed to go to the hospital, and I'm like, yes, fuck yes, please call somebody. Because I'm not one to go to the hospital unless it is a desperate, dire need. You know, if I break a finger, I'll splint that damn thing myself. If I pull it out of socket, I'll yank it back in. You know, I broke every bone in my hand about 12 years ago. I was like 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 8 years ago, 8, 9, no, hell no. It's been like 9, 10 years ago at this point. I shattered every bone in my hand. I destroyed my knuckles, shattered every bone here, shattered the bones in my hand here. They were pieces, literally. They were just pieces. And what I had done was I punched a concrete table in front of Taco Bell. And the main reason for that was my cousin Jonathan, when we were younger, he was a real bitch. And I was never allowed to put my hands on him, because if I did, it caused a big, huge issue in the family, because I was bigger, I was stronger, and I was more aggressive, and I would fuck him up. You know, I never played. Like, even at his own birthday, I body slammed him in a fucking headlock and put him to sleep on his own birthday because of what he did to my sister. And he was really aggressive with my sister when we were kids. He actually punched her on several different occasions, and I was never allowed to get my hands on him. And then one day at the birthday party, everybody had told me to forget about it, that it act like it didn't happen. And I made him think that I forgot about it. And then once I knew it was just us, it was game on. And I beat the shit out of him, and after that I put him in that headlock and I put him to sleep. It took every adult there to get me off him, and this was at about 13 years old. No, not about 14, 13 or 14. It was around the time I broke my hand. And I didn't play games with anybody. I didn't care as a kid. I was constantly fighting. But, I mean, I spent 4.5 months in a cast. It was 14 and a half hours for the first surgery to put the bones back together, put the pins inside to hold the bones back together. And the doctor told me that if I had punched my cousin with the force that I had punched the table, I would have killed him. The amount of pressure that it took to shatter the bones in my hand and destroy my knuckles like I did, I would have hit him with around 900 pounds of pressure, and I would have broke him. He said one of two things. He said I would have broke his neck with the pressure, or I would have shattered his face. So I'm actually glad I didn't do that. But, you know, it's just, I don't know, man. It just seems like the older I get, the more I'm thinking how actually vulnerable life is. How did these videos always go from something cool, educational, to me rambling like a little fucking snowflake bitch about my, you know, life that I've had? It's fucking, ow. It's crazy. Whoa, watch it. It's just, I don't know anymore, you know? It's just one of those things, like, as a kid, I never thought about, you know, hurting myself, and if I did hurt myself, it was something I never really noticed I did. It just, I don't know, I was always asked as a kid, do you feel safe at home? And even as an adult, you know, 23 fucking years old, went to the hospital, what was it, for my conjunctivitis. I couldn't even see. I got a lot of stories, I really do. Like, some of them are really comedic. I I've had some really good times in my life. I cannot say I've had a shit life so far. I've had ups and downs. I've had bad times. I've had worse times, and I've had fucking amazing times. But um, when I had the conjunctivitis in my eyes a few weeks ago, I went to the doctor, and it's something that they usually rarely ask, but it's something that comes up quite a bit because of my history. You know, being as a kid, I was on so much medication. Sweet. um, I was on about 12 different kinds of medication, uppers and downers and lefters and righters and fucking hornswoggles and schnozberries. You know, I was on everything as a kid. I had a mixed bag of bullshit as a kid. Um, but you know, since I'm an adult now, I still have to be checked for it. You know, hospitals are always concerned because of how mentally unstable I was as a child, but I was never unstable. I just had a learning disability, you know. But I was extremely smart in everything else. Like, you hand me a fishing rod, I'll tell you everything about it. I'll teach you how to fish. Even as a little 8-year-old kid, that was my thing. You know, you hand me a paper clip and a rubber band, and I'll make a slingshot out of it, and I'll kill a bird and make you dinner with it. You know, I've always been that kind of reliable, you know, resourcefulness, and people thought it as a threat when I was a kid. Not my family, the people around me in my schools, they didn't like it because I was always making stuff in class, and I had a problem with paying attention in school. My mind always wandered onto different things, and mainly it was about how life and why are we here and what's really going on. And I was really a complacent child, but I was really an honorary kid too. I can't hardly do math either, and that's the problem. And I excelled in math in school, and it's like now that I'm out of school, I can't remember half the shit. Um, but no, we're there, and I can't see. Like, even with my eyes being open, there's this glaze over them. I couldn't see shit, and the doctor comes and he's talking to me. I got my eyes closed. I can't see, so there's no point in having them open, right? I'm blind. And he squeezes them open a little more, and he looks, and he's like, oh shit, that's conjunctivitis. I know what that is. And he pulled away real quick, and he ripped his gloves off, and he washed his hands, he threw it in the trash, and the nurse did the same thing. I'm like, is it really that contagious? And they diagnosed me with it, got me the medication for my eye drops, and it was a goo I got put in my eyes, and it fucking sucked. It really did. It was like putting like lubrication in your eyes or Vaseline. It wouldn't go away for an hour. Like, I couldn't see for an hour. I just had to sit there with my eyes going like this, just looking around with them closed and open, just trying to get it to go away. But they always bring this person in. They always ask me this check. It's like a wellness check, you know. Do you feel safe at home? Do you ever have thoughts of suicide, murder, you know, anything like that? And I'm always like, no, 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 no. And it's like, they ask me, do you feel safe at home? And my mom looks at me and starts laughing. And the lady goes, what's so funny? And I said, I feel safe. It's everyone else that doesn't. I said, I'm the biggest person in the family. I have nothing to worry about. She starts laughing. She's like, I can see you're a big boy. You know, being 6.5 feet tall. Goddamn, that'd be huge. I'm like 6'2" on a good day. You know, I'm 6 foot normally. And I'm, you know, big, broad dude. I am an intimidating person to really meet in real life. And I don't know where this is. Yellow? Yeah. Is it raining? Okay, yeah, I'll get him. Hey, no problem. Bye. Love you. Little bitch hung up on me. It was Dad. I didn't show the number. Haha. Hello?
Yes, I just heard you say Dad. And I hung up.
Oh, I said love you.
Oh, love you.
Alright.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye. That's the kind of relationship I have with my parents. It's never a real issue in my family. So I've always had a stable childhood. My dad's always been around. He's always taking me out. My mom's always been here. I've had a lot of issues with my mother in the past. But that was just growing pains, as I call them. You know, issues where we butted heads because we were around each other constantly. And, you know, my sister being the only girl, my mother treated her a little bit differently than she did me, which wasn't an issue. It was to me as a kid, and it still is to me as an adult to a certain extent. But it wasn't anything terrible, you know? It was like, okay, my buddy's only in the area for an hour, can I go and play? And it was, no, you gotta get your homework done first. But my sister would come home, and she'd get to take off down the road to her friends and come home and do her homework later. And it was a confusing topic to me as a kid. Now I understand why she did it. My mom was trying to build a really good relationship with my sister, and she thought she had built one with me, but apparently she didn't yet, and I wasn't paying attention to it as a kid. Can you pause me? I don't know how long you do that. What do you want, a computer or something? Just take your phone to the bathroom. It's not that weird. I sit and watch YouTube. I go to the bathroom. I got to take my phone to watch YouTube videos. I can't read a newspaper. They don't fucking bring them to the house anymore. But yeah. It's just fucking weird shit. I actually need to put my gun up in my case real quickly. But oh, you got a desktop PC. I have one. It's from an old school that I used to do, and the thing's a piece of shit. And it's garbage. Like I don't even use it for anything. It just sits in the room. I also have a DS, Nintendo 3DSi XL. I spent $300 on that damn thing, and okay, and it just sits there now, and it does nothing in this drawer down here, and the fucking charger's up there, and it's down there, and I'm just I've been standing for so long, my body's not used to it. But yeah, it's just I've been doing this whole weight loss thing, and I'm about to go on a natural diet. I'm actually going to do a survivalist diet, which I think is going to be absolutely fun as hell, and I actually have to get ready to go outside and put the chicken coops up, so I might take you guys with me depending on how my phone's doing. 6% battery life, it'll probably die by the time I get out there. So the phone's dead by the time she gets back. I need to pull up my Discord so people can see it. And good God, I haven't been on this phone for an hour, and it's already blown up. Oh, that's the internet. Nope. This phone ain't used for nothing weird. This phone's strictly for business only. Daniel plays YT. I don't know who the hell that is. That's someone on my Discord, though. But yeah, my Discord name is KDog1751, and my numbers are #7535. So anybody watching this, you want to hit me up on Discord, like Jess does in the Parasite, let me know. I also have a Facebook page. That's more like a personal thing. That's like my actual personal Facebook page, because it's got all my family on and everything. So very, very few select people are allowed on my Facebook page. And the only person on there right now is Mags, and I'm hardly ever really on YouTube anymore. I'm fucking busy, and I'm stressed out, and I've neglected Mag's channel, and I've neglected the Parasite. I've done a shout out for his video, but it was in a live stream, so I'm gonna have to make a full video on it. And I haven't heard from him for weeks, from actually a couple months now. When I heard from Mags, last time I heard from Mags, actually was when we talked on Facebook. Whenever my buddy's mom broke down in Columbus, Ohio, and we had to go down there and rescue her, and I had to try to push her fucking smart car, and that didn't work, and we had to fix it, and I spent 4.5 hours trying to break into her trunk, and all she had to do was walk up her with her keys and fucking swing the back, and it popped open. So yeah, I was a pain in the ass, but I haven't talked to the Parasite. The Copperhead Junkie, I haven't talked to him for a minute either. He popped in a while back, and I haven't heard from him since. The problem is, guys, yeah, I still gotta look at your channel. I keep fucking forgetting, Joe. I'm sorry. Jess, aren't you doing videos too now or something? That motherfucking view count was just 4 and it changed on me. I'm losing it. My phone's dying. But I forgot what I was talking about now. I have an issue. I have a thing where I have moments, days, and weeks, and even months where I can talk to people just every fucking day, nonstop, every day. And then there's times where I just get so backed up doing things that I'm actually just unable to. And then, even with Jess, I feel like I'm neglecting talking to her. I've got a bunch of other people that I talk to that I neglect all the time. My buddy Nick, I haven't talked to him in weeks. My buddy Eddie, I haven't talked to him for 4 or 5 days now. I don't even hardly talk to my fucking family, and they're in the house with me. I do talk to them, but it's like, my brother, I don't talk to him anymore. I don't like dealing with him or his kids. I don't like dealing with his wife. I don't like dealing with just people in general at certain points. And I'm just, it's me time. It's, I gotta sit back and think. These are moments where I'm contemplating everything going on around me and what I need to do to change them and make them better. It's like right now, finances are an extreme problem. And a couple people in the past, whenever I've talked about money issues, are like, oh, start a Discord. I mean, they're like, start a Patreon. It's like, I started a Patreon, and I don't like Patreons, and people always ask me, well, why don't you like them? And I said, because I hate asking people for help, and that is one thing I've never liked doing, even as a kid, was never liked asking my parents for money, or items, or, things like that. One thing I really ever liked asking my dad and my mom was, hey, can we go fishing? Can we go outside? We play. It's always my thing as a kid. It was never, Mom, Dad, buy me, buy me, buy me. It was, Mom, Dad, can we hang out? I was always a family-oriented kid. I know my issues were bad, but like when I went fishing, it was like my relaxation. That was my real medication. That's what I like doing. And even no matter how bad of a month, day, week, or year I was having, when I hit the water as a kid, even as an adult, it's all gone. I forget all about it. I get so focused on fishing, and then that first fish, the excitement level that burns through me is like a hot fire poker. And I feel relaxed. I feel like this is where I need to be. So, hence why originally I was wanting to do a fishing channel, and I had a GoPro, and I had around 27 actual fishing videos with some great quality and some big fish. And then our computer crashed, and I lost all of them, and I lost faith in it. I lost hope in it. And then now I can't find my GoPro because somebody stole my fucking hat, and I can't find where my GoPro's at. And I can't keep up with new YouTubers. I can't. I can't even keep up with old YouTubers in this one. I don't edit videos. I ramble on. I don't get my facts straight when I'm talking. I get so focused on talking, I fuck up saying certain words, and I don't know. I even sit back sometimes and contemplate why I even do YouTube. But I've been doing YouTube for so goddamn long now. I've tried quitting it, and I've lasted longest I've lasted was a month before I had to come back to it, and we just lost the viewers. So thank you, Jess or Spider Woman, whatever the fuck the name was. Yeah, Spider Woman. Thank you for showing up. But phone's about to die. My voice is going finally. I knew this was gonna happen. I gotta get the chickens put up because it's about to start pouring down rain. But yeah, really quickly, the survivalist diet. What that's gonna consist of is all natural food. So I'm gonna go out to the local creeks and ponds, harvest fish. Make soups out of them, things like that. Drink a lot of broth, drink a lot of low fat, a lot of high fat protein foods, but no carbs. I'm not doing bread. I'm doing nothing but green vegetables and red meat. Things that are healthy, small doses of things. Apparently it works. People are telling me I need to try it, and I always love, hunting my own food. There's nothing better than I can think of than actually, hunting something down and taking care of yourself. And I don't ever like the thought of killing something, but at the same time, I don't have a problem with it if it's out of necessity. Like what is deer hunting? You kill that deer. What's it being used for? It's being used to feed your family and your friends, and we use all parts of it here. We have really Native American traditions. My dad, he's 70% fucking Sioux Indian or Cherokee. I can't remember. My mom, she's like 50% fucking Blackfoot, and she's like 40% Cherokee. And I'm a fucking hybrid of three, and I have blonde hair and pale ass skin, and I still believe in the Native American stuff, hence why I walk around with the pan necklace on all the time. People always ask me, you're a juggalo, why is that not a hatchet man? Because not everything has to be a fucking hatchet man. I don't own a hatchet man either, so I wear this when I wear my, my juggalo hat, my juggalo clothes. Sometimes I leave the house, and people get pissed off that are also, well, phone died, guys, so thank you so much for coming out, and I'll see you next time. You guys can still see me. That's the funny part till the phone actually dies.